Hello everyone, welcome back to Edible Abundance Homestead. I'm Ginger and today is August 15th. So I've gone from not taking a video in over a week to taking a video every single day for like 3 days in a row. But that's just how it goes sometimes. So today I'm out here in my garden and what I would like to do is rip out the cucumbers. I keep waiting because there are baby cucumbers up here, but the cucumber plants that I started a couple weeks ago are really ready to go out. I'm also going to rip out this big squash plant. I harvested 2 squash off of it in the past few days. There is another little one on there. I could probably leave it and it would probably still produce, 1 or 2 more squash. But it has some disease on it. It's not being overtaken by disease yet, but it's definitely there. And I also have some baby squash starts that I started a couple weeks ago and they need to be planted out. So I'm going to go ahead and take out this older diseased plants in the hopes of not planting something and immediately having the disease spread to it. Now, one thing that does concern me about that a little bit is over here, I planted cucumber plants in amongst my corn. They didn't do all that well because I think it was really too hot when I planted them. But now that it's starting to cool off a little bit, they're starting to take off. They're producing flowers. I've got a few little cucumbers on there, but the leaves are spotty. So I think they're already diseased. So what I was thinking of doing was to move the cucumber arch over here to get it into at least somewhat fresh soil. But then I've got these diseased cucumbers in this corn patch. And so I honestly think I'm just going to leave the arch where it is. I do think for next year I will move all the arches over here a little bit because I think being in this corner of the garden was detrimental to some of those plants. But anyway, if I can do this today, I'll be happy. I'm going to pull off all the plants. I'm going to try to pick up all the leaves and everything that falls. I'm not sure if I'm going to spray anything on the ground to try to kill the disease. I'm gonna have to look into that a bit. Honestly, I might just go for it and hope for the best. It's cooler weather coming. That should help slow the disease and the mildew and stuff like that down. We'll see. I will probably try to go through and pull out some of the weeds in here. The squash, I probably won't replant right where that giant squash is. I'll probably plant it over here instead, which is probably still going to be a vector for moving disease, but you got to do what you got to do, and this is the spot that I have available. So I have already today moved 200 pounds of chick feed from the back of my van into my chicken coop, into the feed bins. That took a while. And was fraught with interruptions from my children. The littlest one is napping. The older 2 are arguing, basically. And I do have one chick update. So I haven't gone through and checked for pasty butt thoroughly yet. But this morning, when I was out feeding the big girls and checking on the little ones, one of them I noticed was getting pecked at around its butt. And I kind of thought maybe it was pasty butt and that honestly the other chicks were being helpful and pecking away the poop that was stuck there. But it actually has a little sore, maybe about 1/2 inch below its vent, and they're picking at it. Now, I tend to kind of be survival of the fittest at this point with my chicks and chickens. I will take steps to help them as much as I possibly can, but I'm not going to go to extremes to save a chicken that is having health problems or that is just not able to essentially take care of itself. However, this is a 1-day-old chick, and it happened to be one of the Buff Orpington layer chicks that I got. So it's not just like it was a meat chick and there's, 10 more where that came from. And it seemed to still be healthy. I don't know what caused this. I don't know how it got this like little sore on it. It's kind of swollen. But anyway, I moved it inside. I don't like having chicks in my house. I used to keep my chicks in my bathroom when I first got them as 1-day-olds until they were ready to be off heat and brought outside. I did that for a year or two and basically said, forget this, I'm done having chicks. Because the thing is then the whole bathroom is disgusting. It's covered in dust. It's just not a pleasant situation. But for this chick, I've taken it inside. I have put it in a box, given it a little tray of food, a little tray of water, and some heat. I had to set up a heat lamp in my house, which is also terrifying, and needs to be. I've got it set up pretty sturdily, but I am going to, when we go to bed, I'm going to make some adjustments to it, and I'm thinking about if there's somewhere I could put it that's a little safer than where it is. But anyway, that's a concern for later tonight. So we'll see how this chick does. Honestly, it's only been in there since this morning, so 8 hours maybe, and it already looks a lot better. So I'm really hoping it's only going to need to be inside for a day or two, and this little sore will heal up, because it was really irritated this morning, and it was kind of weeping blood and, whatever fluid, and it's totally dried out, and it honestly even looks smaller. So cross your fingers for me, because I really don't like having chicks in my house, and I really don't have the time to nurse a baby chick back to health. I mean, I'm checking on it every few hours. I can hear it in there cheeping, but this is like the limit of my time that I can give to one injured animal. So anyway, that's what we have going on. I can hear on the monitor that my toddler woke up. So hopefully today, or maybe tomorrow, or maybe the next day, we'll see how things go. I want to get these ripped out. I want to kind of, rake away any dropped leaves. I want to clear the weeds that are growing around here. I want to take away anything that might be holding this disease that could spread it to my new plants. I'm looking at this sunflower here, and I'm thinking I might prune these bottom leaves off of it, because they're looking diseased, and I don't think are doing the plant any favors. It's already bloomed, and it's way up there. It's hung its head. You can see it. It could honestly come out, really. I could pull it out and let it finish drying, in a paper bag in my house or something. I'm only going to feed the seeds to my chickens. I'm not saving these seeds, although I probably should, because it's such a huge plant. I'm thinking next year with the sunflowers, I want to get some that do like multiple flowers. I watch all these different YouTube homesteaders, and some of the names that have stuck in my head are like teddy bear sunflowers. These, I thought we had planted some. We had a package that was called like autumn mix or something, and they just weren't just yellow. They had like these orange and gold and kind of ruby-ish rusty colored ones, and I only saw one of them. So I'm thinking we must have ran out of those, or they didn't do well for some reason, so I'd like to get some more of those. And I do have one other really giant sunflower over there that is, actually, I think it's bloomed just right now. So anyway, that's the plan. I can hear already that the plan has been thwarted. I'm going to go in and get my toddler and feed him a snack. And if I can get out here and tear these out, great. If not, it can wait a day or two. The biggest thing is the pots are getting a little small for the plants. They can deal with that, for a little while, but it's going to stunt their growth. And this is fall planting, and so they don't have time to be slow before the frost comes. So surprise, surprise, by the time I got inside, he'd fallen back asleep. I thought it was a little early for him to be waking up, but not going to leave him in there if he's awake and yelling for me. So anyway, went in. He had just moved around and fallen right back to sleep. So I was very tempted to just stay in the house and, you know, relax. And then I got my head on and said, no, there's too much to do. So clear of the cucumbers. Also pulled out a bunch of weeds. Left the squash plant. There's a squash on it that's like a day away from ready to pick, so I'm just gonna leave it. I still need to pull these weeds. I'm waiting because I'm debating. There is radishes that have gone to seed here, and there are also some farther back under the bean trellis, and I had kind of thought that I might just leave them and let the seeds fall and replant themselves, and just kind of have this be a mix of who knows what kind of radishes out here. I'm debating if I'm actually going to do that, or if I'm going to either collect the seeds or toss them to the chickens and just plant nice neat rows of radishes down here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I also have dill that's gone to seed and cilantro that's gone to seed. Both of those, I have collected some of those seeds and tossed them around and replanted them in places. I did that about last week. Should have probably done it about a month ago, but that's kind of the theme of my homestead. Things I should have done a month ago. But anyway, so those have been planted around in some empty spaces. And again, I was debating if I should just leave these to fall and let them kind of reseed themselves. If I should collect the seeds. I have a ton of dill seeds that I collected a couple years ago, so I probably don't need to do that with the dill, but I might do it with the cilantro. So I had not weeded around them, because if I want to leave them, I'm going to have to weed more carefully than what I did over here, which was just rip, and go down the line and rip it out. I'm really actually pretty happy with how much I've gotten done here. I'm sure he'll be awake any minute now. I'm going to head in the house and get some chicken broth into my pressure canner, because we are low on canned chicken broth. And I have chicken carcasses that I have saved from when we butchered, taking up a lot of space in my freezer. So if I can get a few of those turned into some canned broth, that's going to free up some freezer space, which I really need to figure out what I have for freezer space between the 11 meat chickens and potentially getting a quarter of a cow in September. I'm debating on that. We've done it for the past 2 years. We actually did it in June for the past 2 years. We skipped this June because we didn't have the freezer space. And I think if I work on clearing out the freezer some, I can have the freezer space for both the chickens and the quarter cow. Anyway, we'll see. I've got to get going and do that and decide what I'm going to do about all these seeds that are just kind of sitting here. I definitely want to let this sit for at least a couple of days before I plant the new plants, just to, you know, if there's any disease that will die from not having a host, I want to give it a chance to do that. I don't know. I am not super familiar on how plant diseases work. I actually have a degree in biology, but I was more of a animal person. So thank you so much for watching.